everyone. Welcome to the monthly tarot reading lottery. And as always, I have quite a big pile of names in front of me. Thank you to everybody who decided to support me by entering this draw on my Patreon page or by commissioning a personalized reading from me. And before I pick this month's winner, I would just like to make an announcement. So far you were able to enter the draw by pledging $2 or $4 on my Patreon page. And by pledging $4, you made sure that you have a double chance of winning the lottery. And I have introduced a new tier, $9, where you have a triple chance, so your name gets added 3 times. And not only that, you also receive a short 5 to 7 minute video, personalized video, each month as long as you're pledging. So if you're interested in that, if you would like to join the next lottery, you can do so by visiting my Patreon page and pledging $2, $4, or $9. And if you don't want to leave it up to fate, you can also just commission a reading from me on Patreon or on PayPal if you'd like to receive it within the next few days. And I think a name has just fallen out. And it's Rebecca. Congratulations. So, since you haven't sent me a palm scan or a palm photo, I'm not going to do the palmistry reading, but it's still an offer that stands for everybody who's participating in the monthly lottery. So feel free to send me a high quality photo or scan of your palm if you're interested in receiving a palmistry tarot reading in case your name gets picked. So we're going to do a different reading type for you, Rebecca. And since the full moon is coming up soon on the 28th of July. I don't know why I said January. So we're going to do a full moon tarot spread. This is a spread that I don't officially offer just yet. So it's the first time I'm doing this reading for someone. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if it works for you. And we'll see if I'm gonna include it in my list of readings. So I'm just going to do a little bit of shuffling. And the full moon is always an interesting period of time. And there are people who find it hard to fall asleep during a full moon. Other people feel strangely energized, almost crazy with this bizarre energy. And it's always a good time to reflect upon our lives, our achievements. And this spread is designed or was designed to help identify what actions you need to take in order to manifest your intentions. So it's a little bit about realizing your goals and discovering new ways to overcome obstacles. So, the first card is going to tell us where you are in your life right now. So that's always an important card in a spread to identify what's the starting point. Okay. The second card will tell us about how you project yourself into the world. So it's basically the image that you project about yourself. And we can see if there's some discrepancy or if it's aligned with your current state of being. Okay. The third card will tell us about what's blocking you. If there's anything that's blocking your energies to manifest your desires and your goals. Okay. The fourth one, what do you need to do to overcome these obstacles? So it's some practical advice. The fifth one, what can you do within yourself in order to help achieve those desires? So it's more about your inner perspective, internal work that you're doing. The sixth one, what can you learn from the outside world and others to help you manifest your goals and dreams? Okay. And the last one, the projected outcome. So this will be kind of like a manifestation device for us. The tarot will help you focus your energies, your imagination and your manifestation energies on your goal or goals with this card. Okay. So the first card, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and the seventh. Okay, so it's really interesting. We have one card in reverse, otherwise all of the cards are upright. We have two major arcana cards and actually 3 court cards. So that's always interesting because it tells us about an experimentational period. I don't know if experimentational is a word. Sorry about that. So basically a period of time where you're looking for your identity and you're trying to figure yourself out a little bit. And there's this this space, this freedom to experiment with who you are. So the first card speaks about your current state of being, where you are right now. And we have the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is a pretty solid, trustworthy, secure card. So it's telling me that you are reliable. You're someone whose thinking and actions are based in common sense and practicality, but also in an altruistic and giving and generous perspective. So you're happy to share your resources, be it finances, energy, time, creativity, skills. These are all possible resources. And you're really generous with these resources, and you're realizing that in order to create growth and abundance, which is your main focus at the moment, in order to do that, you need to keep an open door to the world and be able to share what you have, your wisdom and your resources. So that's what you're doing. And other people can rely on you because you're really trustworthy and just a kind of a feminine, maternal presence in people's lives. And you can also rely on yourself, so you're independent and strong. So that's really good. That's where you're coming from. The second card is how you project yourself, so how you appear to other people. And here we have another queen. So the Queen of Pentacles is the first card, and then we have the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is telling me that you, Rebecca, are an extremely warm, communicative person. And since we have these two queens together, the Queen of Earth and the Queen of Fire, these two elements can work really well together. They just have these matching energies that create a fusion of both creativity and imagination, and also practical progress. So you're kind of balancing these two sides of your personality, and what you're projecting into the world is this kind of hostess persona in a way. The Queen of Wands is a personality that is really outgoing, really open, very charming and charismatic. So the inner structure of your personality and what you're going through at the moment, it's basically centered around creating security and a reliable structure for yourself and for others. And you're also not forgetting about staying in touch with your environment and becoming inspired by others while inspiring others. So the Queen of Wands is this really cheerful, fiery, confident, highly highly proactive person who's basically ready to take on any challenges that come her way. So yeah, so far so good. The third card represents what's blocking you. And here we have the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands is always about a desire to expand and to think globally. And as you can see, this person is holding the globe in his hand, and he's basically thinking about the bigger picture. He's someone who's representative of business ventures as well, of traveling, and of networking all throughout the globe. So this card, as a blocking pattern, is suggesting to me that you are basically trying to do more than what is possible at the moment. So your plans and your ambitions, especially in the field of your career, because the Two of Wands is a strong indication of a career-driven and career-focused person, someone who wants to put themselves out there. And I see a little bit of a frustration not being able to find a direct way to expand upon your ideas. So you have all this wonderful energy going on at the moment, both within you and in the persona or the personality that you project into the world. But there's some limitations that you need to work with. And even though you're basically limitless in your thinking, the outside world is restrictive. And you're trying to do more than one thing at once. So there's an element of spreading yourself thin a little bit. So your focus is divided with the Two Wands. You're being pulled in different directions by this incredible amount of energy that you have to express yourself and to take on challenges. So I would say that you're being restricted by the limitations of your environment at the moment. Let's see what you can do to overcome these obstacles. And here we have the Moon card. The Moon is a major arcana card. And when it comes to practical action, the Moon card is telling you to stay still and don't get ahead of yourself. Don't make any life-changing important decisions when this card is present, because you're not seeing clearly. The Moon represents illusions, delusions sometimes, a fantasy world that is, and it's interesting that this is the full moon reading, so maybe the clarity will come to you on the day of the full moon, but before that, try not to jump into anything unfamiliar, anything new, because you just don't have all the information that you would need. But yeah, Um, the moon card, on the other hand, represents strong intuitive powers. So instead of, since you seem to be kind of frustrated and you want to be active and you want to take the next viable step as soon as possible, because all these energies within you are kind of restless, and the moon is suggesting that you need to sit with your problems and your obstacles for a while and give way to your intuition through this passive, non-active state. I know it might be hard for you because, like I said, you're really interested in getting busy at the moment. You want to create real changes, real tangible changes in your environment. But the moon card is telling you to take a step back and just wait it out a little bit. So number 5 is the changes that need to happen inside of you. And here we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. Now, the Ace of Wands upright is an indication of basically getting the green light on your creative projects and anything that you want to do, anything that you want to achieve. This is like an extra boost of energy that is supporting you. But since it's in reverse, it's telling me that there's an element, there's a level of internal resistance. Even though you have most of your things together, most of your perspective, your inner perspective, and the way you're presenting yourself to the world, and your ambitions, they are all intact, and you're just ready to go. But there's a level of subconscious resistance, and I think that's why it's important for you to explore your own subconscious for a while, and to take the intuitive approach to see what this is and what it can be. Since we're speaking about wands, and we have 3 wands here, and wands are connected to the astrological element of fire, and fire is about motivation and action. So there's some subconscious resistance here to take some kind of an action that doesn't seem very appealing to you, that you're conflicted about, and you might not even be consciously realizing this. And this is the thing that's standing in your way. It's suggesting to me that you haven't made a decision. You haven't made the decision about this thing. Like, you're not consciously acknowledging it. You haven't put it in its place. It's still kind of up in the air, and it's neither black nor white. It's kind of grayish, and you're not willing to deal with it for some reason. And that's why the outside world, the environment, is not manifesting those opportunities that you would need to take the next step and to make some progress. So first you need to come to a conclusion. You need to find some clarity about this, and I think it might be a good idea to take the chance of the upcoming full moon to meditate on this subject a little bit and to immerse yourself into it. And it might not click right off the bat. You might not be able to right now identify what this is about. Maybe you do know, but I don't think you're in this intuitive mode right now. You're in action mode. So the realization will come later when you slow down and you allow yourself to receive the messages that will make it clear for you what this is about and what the aspect of your plans, your projects is that you are not happy with, that you haven't found your perspective on it, basically. The sixth card is about learning. So what can you learn from others by observing others and what they are doing differently than you? And we have the Page of Swords here. And the Page of Swords represents a relatively young or young-hearted person, someone who is inexperienced and is ready to learn. So the best way to get closer to an understanding of this whole problem that I have been telling you about is by surrounding yourself with and interacting with people who have a fresh perspective on things, possibly young people younger than you are, or people who are not as experienced and not as involved with the things that you have been working on, because that could be immensely beneficial to you to hear the perspective of someone who is kind of a layman, but they have this curious attitude of wanting to learn more, and maybe they will be posing the right questions that will start a process within you. So intellectual openness, curiosity, a willingness to learn, flexibility are keywords with this card, and this is the qualities that you should be looking out for when trying to interact with people or learn from people or find out how you can rise above your obstacles and finally swing in motion. So the seventh card, the projected outcome, is really interesting because here we have the Tower, and the Tower is another major arcana card, and that's telling me that what you have been wanting to do and your deepest ambitions, the reason why you are so ready to act, is because there's this deep changes going on, and you're invited to take a risk. And I can imagine that there's a connection here with the Ace of Wands in reverse. So the Tower is always about demolishing and destructing structures that are existing in our lives, that are comfortable, convenient, things that seem to be working to an extent. And when the Tower energy comes in, those familiar structures are being destroyed, and that can be terrifying, that can be scary, but that's sometimes what we need in order to make some progress. So I think that maybe you're not even realizing the full extent of what your desires and your ambitions might be bringing on in your life. And that might create a subconscious resistance because the dream seems to be too big and too risky. And there's some unpleasant feeling about that. So the projected outcome should be a brave, courageous, accepting attitude, accepting of any consequences that might be coming your way. And I think the key word here is taking risks. So you might want to ask yourself during this full moon period where your fears are really coming from. What are you afraid to lose? What is it that you are attached to? What is it that you're not willing to give up in order to realize your dreams? And to truly ask yourself whether it's worth being attached to those things, whether they really are valuable to you, or if it's just a habit that you're attached to them. And maybe you should let go in order to move on. So I hope that you enjoy this reading, Rebecca, and anybody who has decided to stick around and watch this video to the end. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.